WVTC Radio Detroit. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, X, and our website, www.wvtcdetroit.com, or download our WVTC app from the Play Store for Android users and the App Store for iPhone users. Thank you for tuning to WVTC Radio Detroit and the Community Bell Show with your host, former Wayne County Commissioner, Edna Bell. Stay tuned for insightful information Detroiters will find valuable. Text a friend and tell them to watch with you for news you can use. And now, your host, Edna Bell.
Mike, there I am. Thank you so much for joining us. Hello, it's Monday. It's a Community Bell Show because it's 4 o'clock. We certainly appreciate your coming, your joining us today. Well, last week was the election. And, I've been talking about election, going to vote. Well, so obviously, you guys weren't listening. I shouldn't say you guys. I know the people who listen to WVTC were listening. But there were those who don't listen to WVTC, obviously, because they didn't go vote. Only 15.4% of the people voted in the primary. How horrible is that? We've got a lot of work to do, everybody, because this general election coming in November is serious. is serious. We've got to make sure we elect someone who cares about everyone and someone who's going to look out for everyone. So, we've got some work to do. We've got some work to do. We've got some work to do. And I do have some of those primary results for you because I know you always want to know, as you probably know, our favorite Sheriff Raphael Washington won his election. The clerk, Kathy Garrett, won. Treasurer Sabri won. He was unopposed. The Register of Deeds, Youngblood, also won. He was unopposed. And our own very special Wayne County prosecutor, Kim Worthy, was also unopposed. So they automatically won. In terms of the county commissioners for Wayne County, in the second district, Jonathan Kinlock won his primary. So he will be our next county commissioner again. Martha Scott, who represents kind of a little of Northwest Detroit and Northeast Detroit and Highland Park and Hamtramck, Martha Scott won her election. Irma Clark Coleman won her election also. Irma represents the area. Again, she's more northwest and Oakland Boulevard and up by 8 Mile and so on. So Irma won her reelection. Wonderful Clara Clemente won her reelection. It was close, but she won. Our favorite commissioner, Commissioner Bell, was unopposed. So obviously she won. And one of our other favorites, Monique McCormick, was unopposed. So she will stay in her seat. There was a park millage on the ballot. I talked to you about that. And it did win in Wayne County. 74% of the voters said yes. And our favorite one, the library. Oh my goodness, we know how badly we need to have libraries open. Well, the library vote won also. It won by a big margin, 85.8%. So we're real pleased with that. Real pleased with that. In terms of our state representatives, well, we have a young lady, or young man. First of all, Tyrone Carter represents the first district, Southwest Detroit, and some of the communities down in that area. Wonderful young man. Tyrone won re-election. Alabus Farhad, who represents Dearborn and some of Dearborn Heights, also won his reelection. Stephanie Young, one of our favorites, Stephanie Young, Rosedale Park, Grandmont area, won reelection. Helena Scott represents of Royal Oak and Oak Park and the northeast side of Detroit, or kind of middle east side, maybe it would be better. Helena Scott won. Joe Tate, who represents the far northeast side of Detroit, won. Donovan McKinney won. And I talked about Stephanie Young, our own Stephanie Young won. And we have a new young lady. She's a wonderful young lady. She's an attorney. And I've known her since she graduated from college. That's scary. But she is an attorney, has done wonderful work in the field of helping people out in the legal aid society. Tanya Myers Phillips won her election to state rep, and we're just real proud of Tanya. So those are some of the election results. We're going to look forward to everybody getting it together and going to the polls in November. We need you. But I'd like to bring in some little tidbits. As I was looking at the results, in Trenton, Michigan, that's Southwest Detroit, or rather Southwest Wayne County, the mayor got a raise. He will now be making $18,500 a year, up from $11,000 a year. And the city council in Trenton will now be making $7,500 a year, up from $5,000 a year. I thought I'd throw that in because those of you who think that public officials are making out big, not true. They are servants. They are working real hard, and they don't get enough money, as I would think, for all the work that they do, because it's a 24-hour job. It's 24/7. When you're elected official, you're not just there 9 to 5. You're there 24 hours, 7 days a week. So let's support our elected officials. Now, one of our favorite people is on the line. And you know what this is? It's the second Monday. It's Real Estate Monday. Ken Scott is on the line to talk to us about what's going on in the world of real estate. He's always doing wonderful things, and he had an event last Saturday that he's going to talk to us about, and then he's going to tell us about all the new things coming up in the world of real estate that's going to help all of our residents. Hi, Ken. How are you?
I am doing great. How are you?
I am wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Okay. How did the event go last Saturday?
The event went really well, really
Okay.
well. The Our conjunction with Arise Detroit went extremely well. Unfortunately, Luther wasn't there, but at the same time, um, the outpouring of support throughout the communities that were active in the Arise Detroit's Neighborhoods Day helped out a great deal as far as getting the word out. We did a lot of social media, but at the same time, a lot of people were educated on the process itself. Um, and I can't underscore enough about the education aspect of our business.
Yes.
Um, Instead of trying to get ready, we need to stay ready.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
we haven't done enough of that. And we don't put the priority on it that it should have in order for us to be in a position to acquire wealth. And it just unnerves me to know that people would be willing to do other things and not do this as a priority as it relates to their family.
Yeah, it's well, and again, it's all in what you know and how
Exactly.
you were brought up and who
How
you
you were
know.
taught, who you were taught by, whatever the case may be.
Exactly. Exactly. If your family was not a homeowner
Hmm.
and you move from place to place, you don't understand the value of being stationary and the value of having your own home and what that means to you and your legacy.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
so that we need to start the education process a lot sooner. A lot sooner. I mean, I'm certainly in favor of having some kind of module in our school system
Well, I've
that
been in
talks
favor of
about
that for some time, but at the
that
same
talks about
time,
mhm.
it hasn't been implemented yet.
Well, and it doesn't have to be a whole full-fledged thing.
It doesn't.
It
It
should be
doesn't.
one module in a class, in your economics class, in your civics class, in your government class, all of those, because homeownership is a part of all of that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And so, yeah, that would be it. As a matter of fact, um, well, I'll have the president of the school board on in probably a month or so, right before school starts, and I'm going to mention that to her about the education that our young people need to see as relates to home ownership and how to be a good neighbor and how because they need to start hearing that early, early,
Absolutely.
early, early.
Well,
So what
I've been a community partner of theirs for a long time, so I go into the schools and do the parent groups and what have you, speak in front of the parent groups in order to talk about home ownership and what have you.
Mhm.
And being a community partner has made it extremely accessible for me to reach out to those parents who want to acquire home ownership but never had the thought or never had the information to do so.
Mhm. Exactly, exactly. So what happened last Saturday? And just for those who didn't hear you last Monday,
Mhm.
tell them what went on last Saturday.
Well, the organization is Detroit Home Ownership Center, CDC. We're going to make more inroads as time goes on. One of the things that we chose to do was do a forum in conjunction with Arise Detroit again in order to make it a home buyer's day
Mhm.
where the individual comes out and gets educated regarding the home buyer program and the mortgages, the down payment assistance, what the underwriting guidelines are as far as credit, debt to income ratio, private mortgage insurance, whatever the case may be, and get them in a position to to rise to the time where they can position themselves for home ownership. We had Chase Bank, Liberty Bank, which is one of two black banks in the city of Detroit. We had First Michigan First Credit Union, as well as Superior National, and all of them have their own respective programs, down payment assistance, and mortgage loans, whatever the case may be.
Mhm.
But and a to a certain extent, a captive market. But at the same time, how captive is the market if most people don't know about it?
Exactly. I mean, what
It's
is
only
there
a
a market?
few.
Yeah. Is there? Can you call it a
Yeah,
market?
exactly. Is there a
There
market?
you
Can it be called a market? Correct.
go.
And so one of the things that those four lenders did was make their programs accessible to the attendees. Um, and uh, we had a gentleman, his name is Ray Card. He's one of my board of directors. He was my treasurer for Greater Detroit Realtors Association when I was president in last year. And he came and inspired the group a great deal, told them about the timing of everything as it relates to not only the time that they're there, but the programs that exist that didn't come into existence until recently,
Hmm.
the down payment assistance that didn't come into existence until June 27th, of the $25,000 down payment assistance program, a grant that the city of Detroit is offering now for the second year in a row. The first year was where they made 450 first-time home buyers. We hope to make more this year, but at the same time, the process is slow. I mean, there's a number of factors that are involved in that. One being the inventory. Uh, a good inventory, meaning that it's passing inspection, whether it be the city or a private home inspection. We want to make sure that those people that acquire homes get homes that are not only functional but have longevity and are structurally sound.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So
During your presentation, do you ever show homes that are available to the people sitting there? Because sometimes if they're seeing a presentation and they see a house, oh, I'd like to have that house. Um,
absolutely,
then those
absolutely,
you find a way to get, they may not get that one, but they'll get one like it, but show
yeah,
them what's
exactly.
available because people
And
don't even
keep,
know what's available.
and keep in mind that's the carrot that we use and will continue to use as it
Hmm.
relates to inspiring those individuals and motivating those individuals to buy a home.
Yes.
The other thing about that is there are a number of homes, I would say probably about 80% of the homes that are on the market, if not more, are the ones that are in need of repair. So one of the things that we did was we brought in Liberty Bank, who which is again a second one of two black banks in the city of Detroit, but it also has a RAP program, what they call RAP, which is housing revitalization acquisition program homes, where they can do a renovation loan at the same time you do a mortgage. So
Okay.
you can not only acquire the property, but you can do the renovations on it in order to bring it up to code. And most people aren't aware of that or even qualify for that, in the sense that there are so many homes in deferred maintenance that don't even meet the building code of the city. So those that program can help them alleviate some of those repairs.
That's a really, really good program. And for those of you who don't know where Liberty Bank is, it's at the corner of Woodward Avenue and Owen. Now, if you don't know where Owen is Claremont.
Uh,
When you get to Woodward and Claremont, you get to the east side of Woodward, it changes the name to Owen, but it's right on the corner of Woodward and Owen, Woodward and Claremont. And how do I know that? Because my alma mater, Northern High School, is right across the street on Woodward and
see,
Owen.
see, you had to have had some seasoning to know that.
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
you
yes.
had to have some
That's just not
seasoning.
a tidbit.
Oh
You know,
no,
you
no, no.
have to know
That's
that.
what is it called? That's one of those what do you call it? Trivia questions.
Yes, yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's just not something that you would just know. You
No,
have to
that's not
really
something
know
that
the
rolls
area.
off your tongue.
Exactly, exactly. But it's right on the corner. It's a black one of the two black-owned banks. That one and First Independence are the two black-owned
Absolutely.
banks, and they have put in some wonderful programs to help you.
They
To
truly
help
have.
you, and they've got a special program for educators in Detroit, don't they? Also,
Yes, they do. The RAP program has $15,000 for a down payment assistance grant that can be also used with a $25,000 grant from the city of Detroit. But it also has a $5,000 bonus to that for any DPS employees, whether you're the security guard, to the teacher, to the administrator, to the principal, to whatever the case may be, maintenance guy, whatever the case may be. You can access $20,000 in down payment assistance program
that's
that
forty-five
looks good.
thousand dollars. Oh my
I
God,
mean,
that is $45,000 you could have
absolutely,
access.
absolutely,
That's incredible.
absolutely. And for whatever reason, it just hasn't gotten out to that population.
Wow.
Okay, but at the same time, there are other programs out there. There's a program called Home Boost. You just have to be black in the city of Detroit or anywhere else and be able to buy a home in the city of Detroit.
And what does that do for you? What does that program?
Home Boost gives you another $20,000, flat 20,000. You don't have to be a DPS employee.
Get out of here.
No,
Now
and that can be
you're
coupled
talking
with
about
the 25.
$60,000.
Well, $50,000, but at the same time, you can also add 10,000 from Mister, which is a
Oh my.
loan. So most people don't realize that these down payment assistance grants and loans can
Mhm.
be used to attain home ownership and attain it more affordably.
And they can also be used to fix up that house that isn't just perfect, but it's something that you and a place you'd like to live.
Absolutely,
Correct?
absolutely. And the 15,000 and the 20,000 is not income driven,
Oh
so
wow.
you don't have to be within a certain income guideline. You just have to want to buy a home in the city of Detroit.
Oh, that's amazing.
Okay, so you can buy a house in University District for 400 grand and utilize that 15,000
Wow.
or that 20,000 if you're a DPSC and CD employee.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, so
That's
I mean,
information
it,
is power. People just
exactly.
don't know.
In the real estate industry and the mortgage industry, we have to overcome so many objections and so many myths to get our people to buy homes and what have you. When the only thing you have to do is ask those questions, and don't be afraid to ask those questions.
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
if you're dealing with someone that's been around and knowledgeable about the business and had experience in the business, then you could have a wealth of information in that one person or that one entity that can help you attain home ownership more affordably.
And we have got to work to get that information out. And that's why it was so important to me to have a real estate session on my show, because the information is it's got to get to people. It
Well,
is
thank you.
so helpful. It is so helpful. And I tie it in to my love of the school system, because
Exactly.
babies need a stable environment. Babies need to know that if when I come home this evening, I'm going to come home to the same house I left this morning.
Exactly. Exactly.
Babies need a stable environment. It is crucial that they have a place that they can study, that they
Hmm.
have access to internet, that they feel safe in.
Hmm. And
It's
Edna, I brought up this point several times on this show
mhm.
where when we were growing up, we had three schools we went to:
Yes,
elementary, the middle school or junior high, and the high school.
yep, and they were
We had
most of them
alumni,
were in walking distance.
right, and walking distance in our community that we lived
Yes,
in,
yes,
and we had alumni associations.
yes.
These kids are going to five schools before high school.
I know. Oh, before high school, before middle school, it is so
Exactly.
amazing. These kids change schools two and three times in one semester.
And let me
It's
say this, and
heartbreaking.
I don't think I've ever addressed this, but the city of Detroit and DBSCD have to be on the same page. There should be a program that says, listen, within this district, there should be X amount of schools, elementary, middle schools, and high schools, and that those persons need to be within that certain district so they can go to those schools, so they can have what we've had in the past, so they
Yeah.
can experience that, so they can
Yes.
have an alumni association. I mean, I still know my alumni association from my elementary school.
Look,
I'm a part of it.
I go to church with folks that I went to elementary and middle school and high school with.
Exactly. These kids
And
don't have that luxury.
I know it's heartbreaking, heartbreaking.
So
So many things that we have to work on collaboratively to make this community the community we want it to be. And one of those particularly is the school system and the city working to ensure that the kids are safe going to school
exactly.
and that they have a stable home to go to.
Exactly. And like you said before, it's within walking distance.
Yes, yes.
I
Now
mean,
I'm
why
not
should
sure
you
we're
have to
going to get
go 5, 10, 20 miles outside
yeah,
your area to take your kid to a school?
yeah, and I'm not sure we're gonna get back to the walking distance again because
Well,
in those
I'm
days
not saying that,
there
but at
were
the same
almost a
time,
million people in the city.
at least make it accessible.
Yeah, accessible. Yes, accessible,
Okay.
accessible.
I
We've got
mean,
to find a way to do that because everything depends on whether these young people have a stable environment.
absolutely. Make sure everyone has a stable environment.
That's true. Yes, everybody needs a stable environment.
I mean, make
But
sure that
I'm
when
not,
you
I'm
step
not
out,
worried about y'all. I'm not as worried about y'all old people.
make sure, make sure when
I'm
you step
worried about the
outside your
baby.
house and everything, it's a stable environment. So,
Oh,
is
but
that too much to ask?
nah, I guess that's okay.
All right,
I guess we can ask that. But I'm just so so concerned as we begin. Uh, it's amazing that it's almost time for kids to go back to school. We're in August. I can't even believe it.
correct.
But that we start the school year off with babies who live in a certain place and they're going to be in that place at least for one semester. I'm not even asking for the whole school year. I'm just
Mhm.
asking, can they be in that one place for one semester?
And
Because
see,
that impacts
the,
everything. Whether
and
you
the one
can
thing
read.
about the
Mhm.
the one thing about the 25,000 is you have to be a resident of the city.
Okay.
If you were tax foreclosed between 2010 and 2016,
Hmm.
then you have some inroads there.
Why,
If
why, why do you have inroads there?
Because that's one of the requirements of the program, that if you lost your home to tax foreclosure during that time, you are more inclined to be able to be approved for a loan there.
Okay. So
And
that's
for the
another special
25.
piece that people don't know about.
Absolutely. The other thing is you have to live in the house for 3 years, go through a HUD certified housing counseling class, which is going to be anywhere from 4 to 6 hours.
Hmm.
Get it over with. Find a home in whatever your desired area is. Make sure that the house is functional and has some longevity and is structurally sound. And it could be a single family home or a two-family home, a flat or duplex. And just found out that it also could be a four-family uh, multiple unit if it's done through FHA. So it depends
So,
on
okay, so
what
back
you're
up.
trying to do.
Let me ask you a question. So you said two family or four family. Does that
If
mean
four
you
family,
buy
if it's FHA
it's
mortgage loan,
FHA? Okay, so if it's two family, that means you buy half of the duplex.
rent the other half out and
You buy
have that
okay, back
other
up.
half
You
pay
buy
your mortgage.
okay, you buy the whole thing,
Yeah.
and then you rent the other half out. Okay, and then if it's
And have that other half pay your full mortgage.
okay, I just want to make that
Well,
clear. We're not talking about
and
buying
this is a
half of a duplex. We're talking about buying
exactly
the
no,
whole
not
duplex,
half. Heck, not half.
and then you
But
rent
the
the
other
other
thing
part out.
is, and one thing I want to emphasize is, what was it? Not last Friday, but the Friday before that, and 5 months ago, sold a home to two individuals. They were paying $1,200 in rent. They are now paying under $500 in a mortgage
Wow.
with this money that's been dispersed for the $25,000 down payment assistance program.
Wow.
For them, they're saving upwards of $700 per month. And I posed this question to the attendees Saturday. What could you do with an extra $700 per month?
Per month.
Per
Per
month.
month. Per
Not over
month.
the year, per month.
You're talking about more than $12,000 a year.
Exactly.
Woo!
No. You're
That's
talking about $8,400
$87.
for a year.
You can do all sorts of stuff with that. Pay off all your bills, pay your car off, or buy a new car. Do it,
Exactly.
travel, and do all sorts of things.
But at the same time, you have to be ready. You can't get ready. You have to be ready.
Yeah, got to be ready.
Because you never know when that opportunity is going to exist.
Yeah. Let me go back to something else you said. You said they could buy a four-family flat.
If it's
a
FHA.
FHA, a
Now,
four-family.
it would be
And
for
that
any
sounds like
other,
a business.
for
That-
conventional, no. You must live in one of those units.
Okay, you live in one of those, and then you can get the rent off the other three to pay that and all your other bills.
Correct. But
And
see,
so you can
in
buy
most
a four.
cases, we're
Wow.
trying to get people to buy a single family or a multiple family, a flat or a duplex. So when that mortgage, that rent is paid on that additional unit, then it pays for the whole 2 unit.
Yeah.
And if that's the case and everything, you're living rent free, mortgage free.
Wow. Yeah. It's free.
Okay. So why not investigate the opportunities and position ourselves for the opportunity in order to do so?
Yeah. That and it never thought about the fact that you could do that with these special products that these companies have, that you could buy a four-family flat, live in one, rent the other three out, and if you're FHA, that's allowable, and you're gonna make so much. You're gonna make money hand over fist.
And the one thing that was brought up in the forum was the fact that we aren't researching some of these things. We're not positioning ourselves at the time we need to position ourselves for it. But if you almost have to have a finance class in some instances in order to make yourself accessible to some of these things. I mean, you can't come in with a 500 credit score or 400 credit score and what have you. I mean, 500 credit score, you're trying, you missed some payments and what have you. 400 credit score,
You're trifling.
well, let me say it this way. You made a habit of not paying anybody back. Okay? And at some point in time, it's going to catch up with you.
It's going to get, that's right.
And then I was talking to a gentleman. He had gotten married to a lady that had kids, and they had kids together, but he had 2 kids prior to their marriage. And I asked him, had you paid your taxes on time for the last 2 years? He said, I can't pay my taxes. I said, why can't you pay your taxes? And he said, well, I have child support. I said, do you
What's
really?
that got to do with you paying your taxes?
Well, they're going to catch up and garnish his funds. But see, this is the thing. You're living beneath your means, and you're hiding potential assets, and you are not achieving your dream of living a full life.
Yeah.
Okay. How can you deprive yourself? You're depriving your kids first and foremost.
Yes. Yes.
Then you're depriving the kids that you're living with, that you are married to their mom with.
Yes.
And
Nobody's winning.
nobody's winning.
Nobody's winning.
And you're constantly under that
You're
that
watching your back
ceiling.
all the time.
You
You're
can't go to
always
that.
watching.
You can only go to a certain ceiling.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
You can't remove the cap. You can't really live to your full existence with that being held over your head.
No, no.
I'm like, who told you not to pay taxes? Oh, I
Where's
went to the tax preparer and she said this and this would happen and everything, and I'd be garnishing. But at the same time, by you not paying it,
But didn't she tell him
you're
how
living below
to
your means.
start paying it a little bit at a time? Call the people, talk to them.
Make
They make
arrangements.
arrangements. They make
And you know,
arrangements all the time.
oh, this was a crazy thing. He said, "Well, I'm in their lives and I'm giving them a little money every month." I said, "If you're giving them a little money every month, that's a means to approach the court system and say, listen, I'm allocating a certain amount each month. This is what I can pay." If that's the case and everything, you remove yourself from that heavy burden, that umbrella that you're under, that is going to be removed because you're doing the right thing
Yes.
as much
Yes.
as you can.
Yes.
I'm like, Lord have mercy, my
The
people.
thought process is real interesting. It's real.
But see, that's where the courts need to intervene as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it can't be just a strict judgment and everything. It said, listen, what can you afford to pay reasonably if you come clean with all of the income that you're getting? How much can you afford to pay and still be able to live as well? But at the same time, you're not giving that option. They just slapping a judgment on you and saying, listen, this is what you are being asked to pay and this is it.
I don't care whether you can pay it or not. This is what
I
you're
don't
being
care whether
held.
you can pay it or not.
And that's not fair. That
Now
is-
you got individuals that are depressed all the way around.
yes.
You got the
Everybody's
fathers that's depressed. You got the kids that are depressed. You got the mothers that's depressed. I'm like, and that's the reason why we keep ourselves down. That's the why we don't progress. And I told a friend of mine the other day, I said, listen, the curse of the black people is that we don't think big enough. We don't think big enough. And I said, listen, with that gentleman, he was thinking about, hey, I got to hide this so I can keep what I have, instead of expanding that and seeing what I can attain.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's there for you.
Yeah.
Bank it. Bank it. I mean, stack it as high as you can get it. And
yeah, it's there's a lot out there. People just don't know how much is out. When you start talking about getting $40,000 to $60,000 in grants and loans, that's significant.
And understand this, you can still live in that same situation, but still be able to stack some money off to the side because you're not living above your means anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, you have that opportunity. You all can save some money, put it to the side and everything. Make sure you live in a comfortable life as opposed to hiding from the federal government or whatever the case may be.
All of that.
I mean, we spend too much time hiding from creditors.
Yes.
Where if we had paid those creditors off and everything.
And even if you couldn't pay them, call them and talk to them.
Call them and make arrangements, but be able to make the payments when you make the arrangements.
When you say you're going to do it when you say it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, it's there for you.
Yes.
Just do it.
Yeah. That is so important.
And I'm running into more plant people, UAW, Amazon people that are in the same predicament. And I'm saying, you're making the income.
Yeah, you have no excuse.
you have no excuse. You have
No,
the income. You out there busting your butt every day. I see you
you got
getting in and out of that
income,
truck,
benefits, all of that.
in and
You have
out of
no
that truck
excuse.
and everything. But you hiding your money,
No,
or you not doing the right thing with your money.
come on.
Come on,
Yeah, come on, come on,
come on.
come on. But
Nobody
again,
has to. Nobody has to know what you make it.
that's right.
Okay, but you and your family.
But again, it's all about the education and the mindset. You have to start early teaching people and showing people the difference between doing it that way and doing it the other way.
And let me go to the curse of the black people again. As far
Some
as not
black,
think, as
there's some
some
black.
black people.
Okay, thank you very much. No, that's not.
But at
That's
the
not.
same time,
Oh,
it's permeated our society. But at the same time, let me go back to it. If you're living because of how somebody else is living, and you're comfortable with that,
hmm.
there's something wrong with that.
But again, it goes back
You
to
shouldn't
a
be comparing
learned
yourself
behavior.
against somebody.
It's a learned behavior.
Okay, but at the same time, you gotta learn that we're on this planet to progress,
And we have to help people, we have to teach people that.
and
And
and,
if
and
they don't know, if they've not seen it, they don't know how to do it.
just because your people are spending X amount of dollars in doing something and hanging out on the weekend, don't mean that you have to match them
No, that's true.
or exceed them.
That's true. But let me
Okay,
go back to early education. If they don't know, they don't know. And you don't know what you don't know until somebody teaches you. And so
very true.
that's where the process comes in. We've got to find a way to constantly, just like the commercials on TV are constantly bombarding people, drink that Pepsi, drink that Pepsi, drink that Pepsi. And pretty soon, Pepsi's your favorite drink.
All right,
So we have to find a way to save that money, save that money, save that money. And pretty soon, save that money is the thing you do. So
but
it's a learned behavior that we have to.
exactly. Just like people go to Starbucks.
Uh-huh.
I ain't never been to Starbucks.
I've been in there, but I've never bought anything. I was always with somebody. I don't understand it. Wait a
All
minute,
right,
back up.
y'all spend
I did
y'all
buy it one time. It was
uh,
horrible.
y'all
I didn't
spend
even like it.
$8 for a cup of
I
coffee.
did buy. I didn't buy the $8, but I got a small something. But it was horrible. I said, "Oh, why do people like this?" But there are people who are hooked on it. Have to have it.
But see, that's the problem. We hooked on it.
I'm a Tim Hortons kind of girl.
Yeah,
I get mine for $2.49.
exactly. We hooked on it, and, and we need to separate ourselves from that addiction
Yes,
because it is an addiction.
it absolutely is.
I
It
mean,
absolutely is.
get addicted to putting some money in the bank.
There you go. There you go.
Okay, and I'm telling you, what was it? 2003. The real estate market was really good,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and I was walking around with, hundreds in my pocket.
Uh-huh.
If I had lost 100 and everything, I wouldn't even missed it. And then I watched Dave Ramsey's show on PBS, and he said, "Pay off your debts and everything." So I grabbed all my bills, and it was around $3,000. And I grabbed that 3,000 and took it to Michigan First Credit Union.
Mm-hmm.
And I talked to a young lady named Crystal, and I said, "Listen, Crystal, there's 3,000. Here's 3,000 worth of bills. Here's $3,000 in money. I want to
Pay it
pay
up.
this off." And she said, "No, you don't." And I said, "Crystal, I saw Dave Ramsey for the last 4 weeks on PBS on Sunday night. He
I
said,
do.
pay
I
off."
do. I do.
I do. She said, "No, you don't." She said, "What I want you to do is take out a secured loan for that 3,000." I said, "Isn't that doing the same thing?" She said, "No. Paying off the 3,000 with the 3,000 that you've already had secured, and then paying it back incrementally over a 6-month period can build your credit."
Wow.
I'm like, wait a minute. You're saying
Say
it's
that again.
twofold? It's twofold? I put 3,000 in the bank, Okay, I pay off my debt, but I also increase my credit score.
Huh.
And she said, yeah. So we went ahead and did it and everything. I went from a 550 to a 700. And every time, I'm telling you, when I go below 700, I
Well,
get ticked. I get ticked off like nobody's business. Because I learned to play the game before I was educated on the game.
Okay.
Now I'm a HUD certified housing counselor. So now I know how to use it. I didn't know how to use it before.
Use it. Use the system to your benefit.
I'm going to tell you something. When I paid it off with Crystal, I did it 2 more times after that because it became a game to me. And it was a game that I could afford to play.
There you go.
And once I played it and everything, I'm like, man.
It's
and then in 2020, I got the HUD housing counseling certification. And I'm like, oh, this is how you play it. My teachers never taught me that.
Education is incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, my teachers never taught me that.
Education is incredible.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you,
knowledge is power.
The last thing on that is my credit score dipped below 700. One of them, TransUnion. Boy, I wish I could just strangle TransUnion. But that's another story. Anyway, it went below 700. And I called them and I said, why did it go below 700? I'm paying my bills on time. I'm paying the monthly note and everything. They said, you're not using enough transactions.
How about that? You're not charging enough.
You're not charging enough.
Oh.
Okay, you're not charging enough over 3 trade lines.
That's crazy.
And the moment I realized that and everything, I started getting gas on those other cards.
Okay, and then pay them right off.
And came back up again.
Okay,
so Sandy said we got to wrap up.
Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. And you keep bringing us power. We appreciate you. We appreciate you. Thank you so much.
And tell Sandy we see her, okay?
This is wonderful. Thank you so much, Ken, as always.
Thank you.
Real Estate Monday, the second Monday. Boy, we bring you some good information. We bring you power because knowledge is power.
Absolutely.
Ken Scott, thank you so much for being with us. We'll see you next month on Real Estate Monday. Have a great week, everyone. Thank you for joining us on the Community Bell Show. I'll see you next Monday. And right now, I'm going to see U.S. Congresswoman Maxine Waters, Black Women for Harris. Have a great day, everyone.
Have a great day.
Thank you for listening to Community Bell with your host, former Wayne County Commissioner, Edna Bell. This broadcast was brought to you by WVTC Radio Detroit. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, our website, www.wvtcradio.com, or download our WVTC app from the Play Store for Android users and the App Store for iPhone users. If you've enjoyed this broadcast, tell a friend to tune in. We'll see you next Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern to the Community Bell Show, right here on WVTC Radio Detroit.
Go to your Apple or Google Play Store and download the WVTC Gospel Radio app today. You can also say, Alexa, play WVTC Radio Skills.
Would you like to play WVTC Radio Network?
Absolutely. Download it today.
Neighborhood beautification. That's very important to Detroit. It's very important to block clubs, organizations, and people who live in the community. We got started with 2 lots and a vision of a treehouse center. Because if we can take these blighted lots, Detroit give us grants to be able to do something with them that the community wants, it's a plus because we're bringing our neighborhoods back to where we want them to be, where they should be. All because I live in Detroit.
You're listening to WVTC Gospel Radio Detroit, and we're flowing in the Spirit.